Hello everyone, it's your casual gamer Meep here, and today we're going to be doing something special. I'm going to be giving you a tutorial on how to play Nurse for when you're a beginner. Now, if for some reason you decided to pick up the Nurse as your first killer, you probably made a wrong mistake, but you know what, we're going to deal with it and go from there. To start off, the Nurse is a teleporting killer, capable of traversing the map across a great deal of distance with her power, which is a warping power. It's Spencer's Last Breath, a powerful and violent last breath snatched from Crotus Prenasylum Warden Spencer. It grants the blink, and it grants one additional blink, so it allows her to use 2 blinks in order to get across the map, and also to engage in chases with survivors. Unlike the Nurse, she is not subject to the elements that are found inside the map, including walls, windows, and even pallets. So she is arguably the strongest killer in the game that you can possibly learn to play. She's difficult to learn and hard to master, but once you do, you will be truly unstoppable. Going over her perks, first up we have a Nurse's Calling, unlocks potential in one's aura reading ability. The auras of survivors who are healing or being healed are revealed to you when they are within 28 meters. So basically, whenever you are walking around the map or teleporting across the map, if the survivors are healing within 28 meters of you, you will see not just the person being healed, but also the person who's also doing the heal. So say, for instance, it's just 2 people, you'll see both of their auras. But if 3 people are there, 2 people healing the 1 person, you'll be able to see all 3 of them, which is quite useful, making it a very powerful perk. However, for more experienced players, they will learn not to heal within your terror radius, because they will know that this is one of your teachable perks. However, at lower ranks, around rank 20, they probably will not see this coming, and they might even be too afraid to heal inside your terror radius. Next up, Strider. Strider is one of those odd perks that not necessarily everyone takes advantage of. You are acutely sensitive to the breathing of your prey. Breathing of survivors in pain is 50% louder, and regular breathing is 25% louder. For a beginner, this may be a little bit difficult to use, however, it will, over time, build your game sense and understanding the noises that Dead by Daylight produces, such as survivor grunts and breathing. That'll help you pinpoint their location, which will be important for how you play your role as killer. And last up, third, is Thanatophobia. Their courage fades in the face of undeniable mortality. For each injured, dying, or hooked survivor, all survivors receive a penalty of 5% up to a maximum of 20%. Basically, the more people that are injured, the slower they'll be able to perform survivor actions, including generator repair speed, sabotaging of hooks, and also totem cleansing speed, which can slow down the game noticeably as long as you can keep people which will slow people down quite a bit if you're able to keep them all injured. And for a first time sort of slowdown perk, this isn't a terrible perk. It's pretty good and it's consistent across the board. However, it is, once you start leveling up other characters, a little, weaker, I guess you could say. However, it's still a powerful perk on the Nurse herself. Next up, we have her add-ons here. I actually have a tier list for beginners on how you should be using her perks effectively whenever you first start to play her, and we'll advance further on to here. As you can see in this chart below, we have 5 different sort of rankings for each of her add-ons that basically consist of how they will help you as a beginner whenever you go to play the Nurse for your first time and for your following times. The first one in the S category is the Plaid Flannel. The Plaid Flannel is a super useful perk whenever you first start to learn the Nurse. It's basically an add-on that allows you to see, for however long you're holding the blink, it'll show you just about exactly where you will land based on how long you've been charging the blink up, which can be super useful in helping you learn the Nurse. Here below is actually some footage of me testing it out for you, just to help you understand what it can do for you. The next 2 add-ons in the S tier category are the Fragile Wheeze and also the Dark Cincher. Basically, these 2 add-ons reduce the time it takes for your blinks to recharge for you to be able to use them again. Essentially, these are like a quality of life enhancement for the Nurse, basically allowing you to teleport faster and recover faster, more or less. Next up in the AT category, we have a bunch of her add-ons that basically reduce her blink fatigue whenever it comes to certain aspects of it, including just normal ones where whenever you blink and you don't swing, you recover faster from it, meaning that the time that you spend looking down is decreased, which can be very important in keeping line of sight with the survivors. Each of them does something unique and different. However, it's important to know which one of them applies to you. Some of them affect just the general fatigue, some of them affect the fatigue after you do a second blink, and another one affects basically whenever you go to swing and you miss, and helps you recover faster from that. In the B tier category are add-ons that more or less start changing up how you play the nurse and basically what you can do different with her based on her powerful add-ons effects. First up is the Badman's Keepsake. Whenever you go to blink and hit a survivor for the next 60 seconds or 1 minute, anytime they heal within 28 meters of you, you will be basically have a Nurse's Calling effect on them. So instead of using the perk of Nurse's Calling, you could potentially use Badman's Keepsake, and it will function just as that for 1 minute on that particular survivor. Next up is Kavanaugh's Last Breath and also the Heavy Panting add-on. Basically, these two increases the range that the nurse can go across the map. So these are essentially like Omega Blink nurse, but for those of you who are unaware, Omega Blink was her old add-ons basically that made her go so far across the map. Basically, with these two add-ons combined, you can go across the map in 2 blinks and across the full thing in 4 sets. So these two add-ons are very powerful when combined together. However, I wouldn't necessarily recommend for a beginner. However, once you start developing your muscle memory of what the nurse can do, you'll know better for next time. Last up in the B category is the Spasmodic Breath. Basically, whenever you go and land a teleport, you lose your ability to teleport for up to 1 minute, but you gain the normal movement speed of a killer. So basically, you become the same movement speed of Trapper, the Wraith whenever he's uncloaked, Plague, just to name a few. So this can be sort of a fun little add-on that you can use to have some great effects. In the C tier category, we have a bunch of add-ons that more or less change how the nurse's blinks affect her ability to interact with the environment and even survivors, and some that are just not necessarily as effective as other ones of their kind in the S through B tiers. First up is the Badman's Last Breath. It's basically an add-on that when you land a blink hit attack, you lose your terror radius and red stain for up to 60 seconds. You become undetectable, the status effect that I just described, for up to 60 seconds. Next up is the Metal Spoon. The Metal Spoon is essentially an add-on for the perk Strider. Whenever you successfully attack a survivor through a blink attack, they will increase the noise that they emit for up to 60 seconds, which can be kind of interesting and powerful in a sense. If you combine it with Strider, you're definitely going to find survivors in the environment, especially whenever they are injured. However, it's not as powerful as some of the other add-ons for beginners, so that's why I have it right down here in the C tier. Next up is the Anxious Gasp add-on. It's basically a meme add-on, essentially, because whenever you equip this, whenever you go to blink past a survivor within close range, it'll cause them to scream, and you'll also be awarded 200 blood points for it each time you do it, which can help you earn Deviousness blood points and help fill up that 8,000 point range. It's fun to use, however, and it won't necessarily help you whenever you're beginning, so that's why I have it down here in the C tier. So you might then find it interesting down here to have a ultra rare add-on in the C tier category. However, this basically removes one of your chain blinks, but it increases your speed slightly so to where you're faster than the survivors. However, compared to normal movement speed killers, you're much slower than them. So it's kind of like a detriment to yourself, so I would avoid using this whenever you're a beginner. Next up is Jennifer's Last Breath, a sort of other meme add-on. Basically, whenever you go to blink your first time, and you can press the activate button, and what it'll do is it'll teleport you back to your starting location, which can be kind of interesting at pallet loops. However, once you start building that memory, especially with the Plaid Flannel, you basically won't have a need for this particular add-on, so which is why I have it down here in the C tier, nearing D tier. Last in the C tier, we have Campbell's Last Breath. Basically, whenever you go to fully charge a blink attack, it'll teleport you automatically a half charge ahead in the direction that you are currently facing. And quite frankly, as a nurse with a lot of hours in the game, I don't necessarily see this particular add-on as that useful, especially for a beginner. So this is why I have it down here in the C tier category. It won't really benefit you trying to learn the nurse. It might actually hurt your chances of learning her, so that's why I would have you avoid it and put it down here in the C tier. It's somewhat useful, however, it's not necessarily going to benefit you. And now we start with the D tier, her second ultra rare add-on, the Torn Bookmark. Basically what it does is it gives you an additional blink, so you have up to 3 blink charges. However, this also comes at a heavy price, in which you as the nurse can no longer blink through solid objects. You can't blink through walls, you can't blink through jungle gyms, if you can't see through it automatically. Now, if there's a window in the direction that you're going, it will allow you to teleport through it. However, keep in mind that a survivor tries to lose line of sight on you pretty much effectively. And so this add-on's not really going to help you, which is why I have it all the way down here in D tier category. It can enhance you once you start getting more experienced as a nurse, however, it's best to avoid it whenever you're starting out as a nurse. Next up, we have the White Knit Comb. Basically, this add-on is sort of another blood point earning add-on. Essentially, whenever you go to use a blink attack and you land it, you'll get 100% more blood points. However, the lunge you get after your blink, it'll be moderately reduced, which can be kind of deterrent from running this particular add-on. Especially if basically makes you to where you have to pinpoint land your blink attack exactly right in order to take a benefit of the 100% blood point increase of it. So that's why I have it down here in the D category. It's not terrible, however, it's something you should probably avoid using for a while until you learn how to use the nurse better. Last up in the D tier category is possibly the worst nurse add-on for a beginner that you could run, and that is the Dull Bracelet. Similar to the White Knit Comb, it's basically a blood point scoring add-on in which it's your precise blink, so basically all the blinks you use to get close up to the survivors without actually hitting them. What it does is it gives you 100% more blood points for precise blink scores. However, it comes at a terrible price of moderately decreasing your maximum blink range. And for the nurse, her blink range is everything, so to take away or decrease it any significantly or any noticeably is quite detrimental to her basic ability, which is her blinks, which she relies on for mobility, for being lethal, and for being viable, even for a beginner. So that's why I have it down here as her worst add-on. If you're looking to learn or master the nurse, be prepared to put in a sizable investment in order to get the payoff, which is to be an expert killer. But if you can stomach all of that and deal with it, then you will be probably one of the best killers in Dead by Daylight once you truly learn how to master the nurse. I hope you all enjoyed and learned something new today. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you do, like, subscribe, and share for more. Until next time, good luck, goodbye, and good games for now.